Our campaign aims to empower university students by equipping them with the knowledge to better manage their mental health and that of those around them. Poor mental health can have devastating effects.
6,000 people last year killed themselves. There's 6,000 people that didn't speak out, there's 6,000 people that didn't get help.
In men, the biggest cause of death, I think, is suicide. Yeah.
It can also negatively impact everyday life.
So I first got unwell in my first year, depressed in my first year. Last year I got unwell again and had to leave uni and go to hospital because I was unwell.
My mental health issues, depression, started about 3 years ago. Although I'm pretty sure there were signs to it before that. 1 month can be absolutely fine, and then the next month can be absolutely hell.
I was diagnosed with depression in second year. I wasn't able to attend practically a whole semester's worth of teaching and lectures, and also my ability to focus and study. You know, those were the last things on my mind. I mean, when you're in a place where, you know, you don't really want to live anymore, that's the last thing on your mind. Even eating and drinking and basic personal hygiene, all those things go out the window.
It did make socialising quite hard. It was like at that age, well, in our friendship group, a lot of the socialising was drinking and partying. Like when I started to admit that I was ill and I was seeing doctors every day and nurses every day, I obviously wasn't drinking, I wasn't going out. The socialising that they did, I wasn't a part of. So it was very isolating at that time.
There are various triggers for mental health problems that can be exacerbated by university life.
1, stress. 2, changing environment, coming to a new place, being around new people, not having the old methods of support that you used to have. Whereas at home it's not really a big problem. Here it becomes a big problem quickly.
For me, the major one was bereavement and exam stress.
Last Saturday, for example, deadlines with work.
18 to 25 anyway is statistically meant to be a time when you're changing a lot, and if you're going to develop a mental health problem, that's the time you're most likely to do so.
I wouldn't contact anybody at all, and most days I would just leave my curtains shut and just stay in my room. In terms of friends and wider support, I just really dissociated from everyone.
When you're struggling, what the people around you say and do matters, but it can be difficult to always know how best to respond.
So I've got bipolar, so bipolar mania is something that you don't know what it is, and no one knew what was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong, doctors didn't know what was wrong, it's hard to recognise. So friends didn't know what to do, so they're worried, but they wouldn't come to me and say they were worried, they'd go behind my back. At the time it was frustrating because I'd rather they'd tell me they were going to do something, so tell me they were going to call my mum, and then at least I would know, rather than just have my mum turn up on the doorstep, and it was just confusing.
When I didn't show up for training for American football, and they noticed something was wrong, and they contacted me. And one individual in particular from the team has helped me.
When I was having suicidal ideation, I think I told my sister, who I was really close to, and it was really nice for her to sort of give me some grounding by saying, me and Dad would be, absolutely distraught, if that happened again in our family. We had bereavement twice.
I think it's quite difficult if you haven't experienced it yourself to understand how they're feeling, because they act quite differently compared to their normal self when they are feeling anxious. And I don't think there's much guidance given. It's not really a thing that people talk about. So usually when we have the lectures on mental health and where to get help, then focus on just yourself, about how you deal with how you're coping and if you need any help personally. And they don't really mention about helping other people.
I was advised CBT, but all the waiting times and things like that for those services really put me off.
I think she was waiting for a good month or a month and a half to get the counselling in the first place.
We propose to introduce a course for students to improve their mental health literacy, both online through virtual learning environments and in workshops, specifically to deliver information related to mental health first aid and self-care. For example, a Canvas course might look something like this.
A run through of the basics of different common mental health problems. So everyone knows what bipolar is, or has heard of it, but many people just think it's changing from happy to sad really quickly.
Maybe interactive videos would be a good idea, or different cases or situations, and how you deal with that.
This is what someone with schizophrenia might be the signs they might outwardly be showing, because if you have a basic understanding of that, it would make coming to recognise it in other people that you're friends with, or recognising it even in yourself, a lot easier.
And what not to do, or what to do if you are if you do have a friend with mental health issues, and also maybe a resource of how you can find help or get appropriate support.
Maybe even links to CBT, online CBT things, which I think lots of people can benefit from.
And learning to understand methods to help cope and methods to help other people cope.
That would be quite good to have resources in one place, rather than just having a lecture which some people just don't go to.
We hope that with such a wide-reaching course, more students will feel confident to help themselves and others around them to live with better mental health.
MHFA, Mental Health First Aid, is a first aid course designed to raise awareness and provide you with an action plan to be able to effectively support somebody who is at risk of mental health issues or problems. It's about looking at signs and symptoms, but it's also knowing about how to then kind of have that conversation. So it's very much focused on non-judgmental listening, about giving advice and reassurance, enabling people to seek appropriate help. So that's a medical help, or whether it's somebody within the community or voluntary sector that they can access support from, and also enabling self-help, so what can they do for themselves.
I've actually completed the Mental Health First Aid course. I think it's a great course, and I think the more people we can have trained on elements of that course, the better. Being able to spot warning signs, I think, is a key thing.
It's a good idea. It's one of the things we've been talking about in our college. I'm part of the College of Life and Environmental Science. One of the ideas we had was thinking about making mental health self-care part of the curriculum. The sort of mental health first aid can be really useful, the sort of signposting I mentioned, so recognising when there's a problem and knowing what services are around.
It's not always about if you're feeling slightly, you automatically, the assumption is that you've got depression. It's about, I'm feeling slightly low, what else can I do right now to stop this from escalating? On the whole, we see a dramatic change from not really being aware to being extremely aware.
The people that you need to reach the most are the most difficult ones to reach. If somebody's in the grips of suffering from quite severe depression, maybe undiagnosed at that stage, or anxiety, chances are is that they're a bit disengaged from their studies and from the people around them, and so that makes breaking through that barrier all the more difficult. Having students then on the ground in classrooms with them and friends and things that have done the training will definitely help with that.
Might even be that somebody in their third year at university or their final year at uni may well do the course to then be able to do some peer support with new students as they enroll into university.
I like the idea of a Canvas module because students are used to interacting with that, and it's something that students are using and engaging with already. It's also something that students can dip in and out of as well. And I think that it's more likely to reach people that way, that somebody might be more likely to look at the training in their own time.
A lot of the information is about raising awareness. What mental health first aid actually do is give you the tools to actually carry out in practice some of the first aid. Very much about having hope that there is recovery is possible.
You could change a life. You could save a life.